Hey friends, so I wanted to get on here and give you guys a quick general reading for the collective. So here we have the Strength card. Spirit is asking for you to carry something that's a little bit heavy, a little bit heavier than what you're used to, or maybe you've been carrying it for a while, because I see bags under this man's eyes, like he's been losing sleep for a while. Maybe you've even been experiencing headaches from all of the stress, but this person, he has heavy duty gloves on. So Spirit is saying that you're prepared to handle this heavy load. You're prepared to carry this heaviness that has been handed to you. And that's where your strength is coming in. This is talking about inner strength and digging deep inside and finding the will to keep moving forward, because you're being asked to, with this Five of Needles card, is you're being asked to face your fears here. You're being asked to come up against your either shadow side, maybe facing some bullies in the physical realm, or facing some inner demons, even facing some fears. A lot of you are coming up against some of your deepest, darkest fears, whether that be facing independence and instead of codependency, whether it be dealing with some financial problems around lack. I get a lot of you are dealing with, in this sense, it's a relationship issue. I am leaning heavily into more like the codependency thing for a lot of you. For some of you, it's more of just the relationship's run its course and you're just not really wanting to accept it, because you're wondering about the unknown. You're wondering, it seems scary, right, to go out there, but Spirit's asking you to face those fears at this point in time. You're being asked to come up against it. By no coincidence, this is no coincidence, the things that are starting to come up for you. The Four of Presents. So the Four of Presents card is telling me that there's something recently that's left a bitter taste in your mouth. There's something that just didn't quite go over well for you. Some of you, this is quite literally maybe an altercation surrounding food, or somebody's cooking, or some kind of dish. I don't know, but I am picking up that also this is having to do with kind of, typically this card would talk about not wanting to let go, holding on too tightly to something. So again, I'm getting that you are not wanting to go outside your comfort zone, that you're wanting to very much stay. But Spirit's pushing you towards facing your fears for a reason. Let's see what else we have here. We also have the Eight of Candles, which is talking about a message. And yes, here we have the Queen of Presents. So again, some of you may be dealing with an altercation surrounding food, quite literally, but for a lot of you, what this is talking about is sugar-coated messages, and making sure that you're not filling up too much on sugar-coated messages. It will cause your teeth to fall out. So maybe somebody is being passive-aggressive towards you. Maybe somebody is kind of sugarcoating their criticisms in a way that they think that you're not picking up on it. But even if it's on a subconscious level, you are most certainly absorbing this negativity. You're most certainly picking up on the messages that they're giving to you. And although sometimes they may be coming off as sweet, sometimes they may be coming off as well-intended, or even you're uncertain if they are being a little bit rude, because it is coming off in a passive-aggressive manner. Spirit is saying, yes, it's definitely laced with a toxic undertone. And if you were to fill up on too much of that, let's say you were to eat that entire pie by yourself in one sitting, chances are you're going to end up feeling quite sick at the end of it. So it could be that you're kind of filling up too much. You're filling up too much on the sweets, but it's not the good kind of sweets. It's not the kind that's feeding your soul. It's actually the kind that's rotting your teeth. It's rotting your insides. It's rotting you from the inside out. And Spirit is asking you to acknowledge where that's taking place in your life. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. I did want to find out if there was going to be a change of tides. And here we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is talking about, sometimes, you're up, sometimes you're down, and sometimes things are going well, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes you have good luck, sometimes you don't. And in this case, I feel very much as though Spirit is saying, you know, you're bolted down here. It's not necessarily something that you can change. You can't lean in the other direction and try to sway the wheel in the other direction, because that's just not the direction that the machinery is heading right now. You are not in control of the situation. When it feels like everything is spiraling out of control, you are in control of it as far as stuff hitting the fan right now, if that makes sense. Of course, you are in control of your choices. Of course, you can decide to change route at any time, but it is going to take a little bit of time for you to get the wheel moving in the other direction, if that makes sense. If you're moving so fast in one direction, there's got to be a slowdown period, a little bit of a transition period between when you're able to, let's say, from moving clockwise to moving counterclockwise, you have to make some choices that are going to push the wheel in that direction. But Spirit is saying don't stress too much over it, because it's most certainly somewhat out of your control, in the sense that karma, the universe, the spirit world is at play. And that's what I'm picking up on most significantly with the Wheel of Fortune card, is that you're kind of just along for the ride. A lot like the Hangman. I'm getting a lot of Hangman vibes from that. So here we have the Page of Needles. So again, it's talking about sugar-coated messages, and Page of Needles in reverse is traditionally like a gossip card. It could be a very childish like behavior, immature words, immature thoughts, immature arguments even. And this card is quite literally the trick-or-treaters. So again, Spirit is talking about, is it a trick or is it a treat what this person is serving to you? Is it in your best intentions to continue working with these people? Because if, as you can see, they're wearing masks, as trick-or-treaters tend to do. So this person is not showing you their true intentions. They're not showing you their true selves. So these messages that are coming off as sweet, if you take on too much of it, you're going to end up sick. It's going to end up making you feel ill in some way, in some sense of the word. So, and also there's here this chain, this bear trap it's literally a trap. So be careful that you're not trapping yourself in some way. If this is a relationship, you want to be very aware of if you're getting yourself trapped into a long-term situation, because I am picking up that, you know, and they say that, you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. And it's not true. I mean, especially if you're in a romantic relationship or a close friendship or some kind of close relationship with somebody, if they were to be verbally abusive to you, those words can last a lifetime if we're not careful, if we choose to take that on as our truth. So Spirit's asking for you to be really conscious of that. Make sure that you're not falling into any traps, and you know, just be aware that there's some around you that are wearing masks. Be wary of what is tricks and what are treats. I have a hard time with Roman numerals, so that looks like a 7. 7 of candles. So Spirits, again, is talking about being on the defense, okay? Making sure that the people around you are well-intended as you hope that they are, because I know I myself, as an empath, I tend to see the good and the bad in people, and I choose to want to see the good. Because I can see the good in almost everybody, I choose to lean into that, and sometimes that can get me into trouble if I choose to disregard the bad. If I choose to disregard some of the bad things as like maybe I'm being overly paranoid or doubting my intuition in some way, but our higher selves usually do try to let us know when you know, something just doesn't quite feel right. And I think that in this sense, a little bit of being overly cautious would be good. It would be in your favor to be a little bit overly cautious. Usually when this card is in reverse, is talking about being overly defensive or even paranoid. But I think that Spirit's saying it's okay to be paranoid right now. It's okay to be overly defensive, because you are, I mean, I don't want to cause alarm, but you are under attack right now, and it could be very much in a verbal or a mental way. It could be like a mentally abusive situation. And you know what I'm thinking is, I feel like a lot of you are empaths, and you're in like this empath narcissistic relationship. And I almost wanted to say love triangle. So I don't know if some of you are dealing with a third party, but again, I feel like some of you are dealing with a narcissist. And if you're in the midst of it, it could be really hard to see when you're in the middle of it. It could be really, really difficult to see that some of the things that they're saying to you, it might seem like just normal things that people say to one another, like, oh, well, he just or she just wants me to be better, so I should be better. Well, no, the way that they're conveying this message to you is a form of an attack. And I just saw 1111 as I was saying that. So it's a form of an attack, and it's time for you to open your eyes to that so that you can start a new beginning, so that you can untrap yourself, so to speak. Don't let your guard down right now, because yes, here we have the devil in reverse. So this is talking, Spirit is saying, look, there's chains in the background. He is seeing his opportunity. He is ready to strike. The devil is watching you from the corners. The devil is talking about, he could be talking about vices. He could be talking about restrictions. He could be talking about even addictions and abuse, a toxic situation, something that doesn't serve us, something that is sucking the soul right out of us, okay? And it's also talking about our fears. Again, facing your boogeyman. So if you're afraid of being alone, if you're afraid of, walking away because you're afraid of being alone, the devil is feeding off of that. He knows that that's your weakness. So he's ready to pounce with anything that he can lure you with. Anything that he can lure you in with is basically what he is waiting in the shadows to do. So know that the devil, he knows that you're at your weakest point right now, which you're not, because again, we had the Strength card in the very beginning. Remember, you have these heavy-duty gloves, but you're not sleeping. You're not really thinking clearly because of the stress, right? Because of what you're taking on, because of the heaviness. And maybe you've been carrying it so long that you kind of forgot how heavy it was. But don't forget that you're wearing these gloves, and these gloves are going to protect you. They're going to protect your skin. And it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy and that you're going to come out of it unbruised, but just... You're that much more prepared now, because Spirit told you, like, the devil is basically waiting to pounce in any way that he can. And again, here, look, we have the Ten of Presents, and sure enough, yes. So we have the Ten of Presents and the Six of Potions. And these cards are telling me, the main thing that I get from this card is temptation. Okay, so I have temptation with the snake, which when paired with the tree, I get kind of a biblical vibe where, you know, Adam and Eve and the snake and the tree with the apple, right? So I'm getting a complete temptation vibe here. Like, you're being tempted with something. And it could be any number of things. I feel like I'm picking up on a few different situations for a few different people. It could be even like that third party situation that I'm picking up on. I'm thinking that, like, with the Six of Potions, for some of you, it could be like a past relationship that you're kind of looking, that you're kind of looking back at, and it's seeming a little bit more alluring right now. It seems tempting to you right now because you are so unhappy in your current situation. But look, those flowers are not viable. They're crispy, they're dried, they're dead, they're long gone, okay? They're from the past. They're not viable anymore. Okay, so Spirit is saying don't be tempted, because this card is in reverse. It's not talking about emotional fulfillment here. It's not talking about even financial fulfillment. It's not talking about any kind of gains here. It's a false allurement. I don't know if that's a word. It's a false, it's a temptation is all I can really think to call that. I'm having a hard time putting it into words, but again here, so we have the Page of Potions, and it's this is, I mean, it could be a water sign that you're dealing with, but it's talking about an immature love. I don't think it's a real love. This person's not seeing clearly, but the main thing that I pick up on here is like a child looking at a swimming pool. That's what I feel like is happening here. And as a mother, that's terrifying when you see a child, especially if like you were for some reason the child got away from you, and like this child does not seem to have his mother right over his shoulder. So I would think that I as a mother immediately want to say, get away from the ledge, you know, because you know, if they fall in, and it's just natural for young children to be drawn to the water, and that if they love to swim, if they're swimmers, if they're little fish, you know, which the Page of Potions, if it's a water sign, I know a lot of water signs are little fish. So it's like a child, a toddler drawn to the swimming pool. It seems so fun, but it's so incredibly dangerous. So Spirit is asking for you to be aware of that, and just make sure that, yes, so the next card is rest. So just make sure that you take some time for yourself. And again, I mean, if this is a breakup that you're facing, if it's the end of a relationship that you're facing and you're afraid of being alone, this is Spirit saying you need to be alone. That is the whole point. The devil wants you, the devil card, I should say, the devil, that energy wants you to be afraid, because it wants you to run back into an old relationship that was bad for you, or it wants you to stay in the current relationship that's bad for you, or to be too afraid to move forward and to feel trapped. That energy wants you to make rash decisions that aren't in your best interest, okay? But Spirit is saying you know better, okay? This is your warning. Spirit is telling you to take some time to rest. Take some time to do whatever it is that you need to do to find your truth, find what feels good to you, what feels right, and to be a real treat, to really treat yourself, not the trick and treat nonsense, okay? We're talking about real treats that feed your soul, feed your mind, feed your body, okay? And to really do some soul searching while you're resting, to think up, if you could have any life that you wanted, if you could spin that wheel in any direction that you wanted, what direction would you spin it in? Because it's kind of like that saying, you stood for nothing, so you fell for everything. And it's, you have to have a clear vision on what you want, so that you know exactly what you don't want, which I think you do know at this point with the experiences that you've had. You know exactly what you don't want. Okay, and so the next step is to just take some time to rest, recover, recuperate. Okay, you've just survived a war, or you will be shortly, surviving a war, and it's time for you to nurse your wounds. Okay, do not even think about rushing back into something. Don't even think about trying to stick a band-aid on it with a night of, you know, short-term solutions for long-term trauma, because all that is really doing is feeding the devil. It's really just feeding your insecurities. It's feeding your shadow work that's not being attended to for one more night. Okay, so I know it could be tempting. Like I said, don't give in to the temptation. Instead, give in to self-care. Give in to loving yourself, okay? Because then the final card that we have here is an oracle card, and it says impermanence. Life is always changing, and I drift easily through those changes, good and bad. As I drift through hard times, I can take comfort in knowing that I will leave them behind. As I drift away from good times, I can take comfort in knowing that more will come my way. Impermanence is an equal opportunity non-entity. Okay, so that's beautiful. That's talking about how the situation is totally temporary. Okay, so stay strong, you guys. Stay strong. That was the very first card that we had here. Reach down into that strength. Keep moving forward because the situation is only temporary. Okay, I hope that helps you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.